Hey guys, what's up? It's Dagon123 again, and I'm back with another top list for you guys. Now, everybody has favorite lists. You know, games they love to death, and hell, I have a few going myself. But this time, I wanted to take a look back at the games the gaming world didn't fawn over. In fact, loathed. Loathed to the point they were ridiculed for merely saying they enjoyed playing the game, which is pretty much what I'm doing now. So because of that, I have this right here. This is my hater shield. This will protect me from the various times I will more than likely have shots taken at me. So with that said, this is... Oh god. What's that? Oh shit. Oh shit. This is the top 5 games that really weren't as bad as everyone said. Number 5 was a game that didn't do terribly, but it certainly died a lot faster, and got a lot more flack than I would expect. And that's Digital Extremes and the now defunct Chaos Studios' Homefront. By far the strongest point about Homefront was its multiplayer. Many people said it was an okay game, but didn't really execute what it was going for very well. And for the most part, I can agree with that. It really took the best of both worlds, meaning Call of Duty and Battlefield, and it, if you look at those games, even though they're both war games, they're both military first-person shooters, they almost play completely differently, despite being on the Unreal Engine. They have totally different mechanics to the way they work. One is to emulate true warfare, and one is to emulate kind of the Spec Ops, run-and-gun hero type thing. And putting them together didn't really work too well, for the most part. And unfortunately, it couldn't find a spot for itself. But it deserves far better than a 70, I will tell you that. Keep in mind, it has a 70 Metacritic score. Black Ops has an 81. So, if anything, those scores should very much be swapped. Now here's where I expect the hate train to start rolling in. Number 4 on this list is a Fallout game I would expect most fans would want to forget. And that's Fallout Brotherhood of Steel for the PS2 and the original Xbox. I actually really enjoyed this game. It's made by who are now known as Obsidian, the original creators of Fallout. The game is essentially Baldur's Gate 2, set in the Fallout universe, with heavy metal music. It will remind those, the top-down shooters, like the Guerrillians of zombie shooting games now, how they're like top-down and you have to shoot them from, whatever. I can honestly see why it turned people off. It didn't have a Vault Dweller. Many enemies were made up, like you had to fight like giant scorpions, like giant scorpions, like scorpions the size of basements. The vulgarity would make Fallout 2 blush. Heavy metal music never really reminded me of Fallout so much, etc. But honestly, it's not that bad. If you were a fan of Baldur's Gate 2, you'll feel right at home with this game. If you like heavy metal, if you're a metalhead, you'll like it. And if you're a fan of something like Alien Breed or Hunt of the Reckoning, need I say more? Oh man, number 3. It's funny, even after I played the demo, I absolutely loved this game. Number 3 is Turok, the 2008 remake. I'll be honest, this game didn't fail because it was bad. In fact, if you look at most reviews, they say it's a well put together game. Unfortunately, it has the Turok name on it. So immediately people say, well, derp, it has to be Turok 1 or 2 HD. And, I love this game. Hell, I'm LPing it right now. The problem with this game was it was stuck between the fans who wanted same old, and the studios who saw the utter failure that was Turok Evolution, which was essentially Turok 1.5 rushed. And the then humongous popular fad of Space Marines, Halo, Gears of War, they were humongous. And they decided to go for the latter, and that's respectable. They did a great job with what they did. The sequel, which would have been tentatively titled Turok 2, looked like it was the game that every Turok fan had been waiting for. Unfortunately, the low sales that propaganda got from Turok, got them shut down. Are those honeycombs? Probably, because I just jumped into the beehive of hate that is number 2, Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts. I've heard it all. Microsoft screwed Rare, blah blah blah. Nuts and Bolts was an extremely fun game, in a lot of ways. Turok and Banjo are kind of in the same boat, in that once they left the N64, they pretty much lost the flair that they originally had. Does that mean I hate them? Not at all. Hell, if it wasn't for nuts and bolts, Stop and Swap would have never been fully realized. The game is very innovative for what it is, and the worlds are humongous. There were times where I just flew around because everything looks so nice. Unfortunately, even I wish there would have been more platforming and less building. I save most of my building these days for Minecraft. And number one. Well, I guess you could say if anybody on this list needed balls of steel, it would be this guy. Number one is Duke Nukem Forever. If you'll notice, most of these games are from the current generation. And I believe a large part of this, and this is a very loaded statement, but one I truly believe in, is gamers don't know what they want. And if they do, they follow the mainstream thought, the mainstream popular idea, and their expectations are completely, almost always 99% wrong. Duke was the king of vaporware. Duke never. Duke Nukem never going to happen. Duke Nukem forever in development. Duke Nukem for never. And then Gearbox shipped the unshippable game. They brought the Titanic back to life, like they did the unthinkable. I have to use this example, and Matt, I'm sorry, but you are the example. This friend of mine said the reason he didn't like Duke Forever was because he thought it was childish. He didn't laugh at the humor anymore. And yet, turns around and in jest, makes a reference to him puking in his own butthole. That's the kind of irony that makes me retch. After looking at everything, reviews, opinions, from all points of view, the gaming mainstream just didn't want Duke Forever to succeed. I know that's very loaded, but I cannot come to any other conclusion. They wanted it to fester in vaporware hell. Surely a game that had been in development off and on for 13 years couldn't succeed, couldn't happen, and yet it did. Hell, people should have been rooting for Duke. This should have been, it should have been said, if Duke Forever can happen, anything can happen. And yet as soon as the first lukewarm reviews came in, that's all it took. Was the game perfect? Hell no. Not at all. But did it say it was going to be? No. It never said it was going to be a perfect game. Was it everything the guys at Gearbox and the voice of Duke Nukem himself, John St. John, said it would be? Yes. It was Duke Nukem 3D, amped up to the nth degree. And that, guys, is my top list for today. Thank you very much for watching, and... Oh, god damn it.